Welcome to Cards of Insight, where we discuss all things tarot. And I'm Greg, and I live in London.
Anna here, joining you all the way from sunny Brazil.
Susan here. I'm here in Canada.
And Pavlina, greetings from London, UK.
And we are all tarot readers. Shall we change the subject?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Right. And my job, I'm the best worker there is.
Of course.
When will I get yes? So when will I get my raise?
Oh, how long you've been working there, right? First question.
Oh,
Yes.
that doesn't matter. I'm good at what I do, right?
Good
And
question.
do you work for commission?
Yeah.
No, I get a monthly wage, and I'm significantly underpaid for the amount of contribution that I put in. See,
And is this business historically give implements of every year? Do they give raises?
Yeah.
sometimes
Sometimes.
you'll get like a raise that everybody gets, like 1% or 2%, and everybody gets the same. But sometimes they'll tell you that everybody got 2%, but the couple will get maybe 3 or 4. See, and you see, I'm the best worker there is, and I want to know when I'm getting my raise. See, the issue is I'm the best worker there is, right? Well, have you asked my boss what he thinks? See, this is the issue. Do I actually deserve my raise?
I would shift it to the boss.
Yeah.
Does your boss think you deserve a
That
raise?
doesn't matter what I think,
Yeah.
does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Maybe you work more than everybody else, but your boss doesn't think you deserve a raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm working
So-
harder because I'm not good at what I do, so I have to work harder to compensate for it.
Well, it depends on the company. Like a sales company is quite different from an industrial company.
Mm-hmm.
Like a sales company, you work for commission, you work for how many widgets you put out there. Like if you're very good at selling 100 widgets a month or more, then yeah, then you have a right to have expectations there. But if you're just doing a factory job or a mechanical job, and the whole thing is that you get a job, you walk through the door, and it has nothing to do with raises. It's only how the company is doing that gives anybody a raise.
Yeah.
So it's us understanding as a tarot reader, understanding, okay, what kind of job do you have? Do you have a job where raises are given on a yearly basis or quarterly basis?
Right. So by going by what you said, so maybe you do deserve a raise, and the boss doesn't think that you don't deserve it, and the boss does think you do, but he just can't give you one because he's not the man that pays the wages, right? It's the accountant, Mr. Accountant.
Yeah, it could be a CFO
See.
or, CEO of the company, but I would maybe the question is like obviously you ask how long you've been working there and if there have been raises before, but as well it's a good to ask about the company, how company is doing to give the raises, money, because in these days, like especially in this economy, not many of them happens, right?
And also, did this employer promise that person a raise? Did they say, okay, in 6 months' time, I'll probably be giving out raises, or is there a promise here from that boss or company to implement raises? Like, where's this coming from? Where's this question of a raise coming from?
I mean, if you work like in sales, like you mentioned earlier, that would make sense because the more stuff you sell, the more profit you make, and then obviously the more you can pay. But if it's like a security business and you manage to run things more efficiently and save them on waste, and you're not really making more sales, but you're saving money, but it's a one-off saving. And how do you so it can depend on the industry. Can they give it to you?
Like bonuses are usually given quarterly. That's how, like, from the jobs. And secondary, like I know when I worked, um I would get something. If that sale, they set it up so it was more incentive. If if the company was doing well, we got a bonus,
Yeah.
maybe at the end of the year or whatever. So it was something to expect, but it was a one-time thing. So if the company's not doing well, you're not going to get this. It wasn't a set amount.
Yeah, but I think this is the bonus. The raise is fixed income, right? They will increase, like, for example, 5% up, right? So I think first question is how long you've been working in the company and how is doing the company, right? As well, and then you can ask.
So that because there's so many questions, I think to get around that, because like for example, if you work in a company, we are paying X amount for that department, and there's 10 people working there, and that's what they pay for that department. So there's going to be no pay rises. So I think to get around that, not get around it, but the best solution I would say is, do they deserve the pay rise? Yes. Will they get it? No. And why not? Because the company simply can't do it, but they are appreciated. So I've worked in a company where they couldn't give you raises, but the person would let me go home early or give me half the day off. They always tried to compensate for you, or if I came in late, they would just ignore it. Or so sometimes companies. So I would ask that question too. Like, can they give it to you? Do you get privileges? Do you get minded a lot? Do they let you relax, or are they on your case? And it's a really difficult one. I would ask, do they deserve the pay rise? No, yes, then I would tell them. If it was no, I wouldn't tell them. And then you go, can they give you the pay rise? And then you would say no, they can't. And then you tell them why, and then they feel better. You say, well, your work's noticed. They can't give you the pay rise because the company doesn't work that way. But your job's secure, and you're at the top of the list for one of their favorite candidates. Because you want to hold on to people that are valuable. So they may not be able to give you a pay rise, but you're still valuable. So I would change the question. You're valuable, but they can't give you a pay rise, but you're valuable, because valuable is a different thing as well. Because if I'm paying everybody the same, certain people will be more valuable than others to you. So you could be valuable, but they couldn't give you more money. And I would try to tell them you're very valuable to the company, and they would hold on to you if they could, but they can't give you a pay rise because that's the way the company works. They just don't do it.
So, Greg, I've pulled the card and asked the question because it's
Yes, go on.
Yes, I've got a page of coins, right?
Page of coins.
That means you will get little pay rise, little pay,
You see?
little inflation up.
And that's what frequently business do now. They give you a raise according to inflation
Yeah,
every year.
as well.
That's why you have unions.
Yes. Okay. Seeing as we're on the work relationship of things, I like this question because it can be an assumption and it can't be if you ask the right questions. And it goes, why is my boss overloading me with work? And the first question I always ask is, are you doing more work than the others? And they would say, yes. And say, give an example. And they'd go, blah. And I'd go, yes, definitely working harder than the others. And then don't assume that, but you've got to believe them. Well, you believe them. And is my boss overloading me with work? And then you ask why, and you draw a card. And I happen to discover it's because the boss doesn't trust the others. He thinks they're incompetent. So he's actually giving you all the work because he's relying on you, and he trusts you, and he knows you're reliable. And if you think that's unfair, then go back to question where we asked if you're going to get a pay rise. But if that were the reason, then how would you accept that? And what do you do about that? I'm working harder, and I tell you it's because they respect you and they trust you. Then you don't have to feel so bad about things, I think.
But maybe they are overloading you with the work because there have been redundancies as well, right? So this question has to be discussed.
But is it fair? It's not fair.
It's not fair.
No.
You have to stop doing more work.
So can I win if I say the boss is overloading him because they don't like him and they're bullying him? So that's not fair. Or they're overloading him with work because they trust him and they don't trust anybody else. Still not fair. I think you're a lose-lose on that one.
Well, I think you'd have to look at, okay, the overloading, like it's like if people been let go and therefore you're you're picking up other job. But that's something you got to find out. You have to find out, have they recently laid off a bunch of people and therefore that changes the workload.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need to do some discovery of understanding, okay, what do you do for work and what have been the expectations in your work? And have they let go of people and now you're picking up if you're in sales, now you've got those files to do. You're now taking on more contracts than before.
Because the question they asked me is, why am I doing more? Why am I being overloaded? Well, it actually says, why is my boss overloading me with work? Good point, Susan. So is it just him or is it the whole team? And it maybe
Yeah,
goes back to
you
what
need to
said.
ask. You
Yeah.
need to ask. You have to do some discovery of finding out, okay, when did this all start happening? What is your job? And what makes you think you're feeling like someone over there has 3 contracts to do and I've got 10.
Yeah, that
And
would be unfair. Yes.
yeah, but
But
then
how long are the 10 contracts? Are they short contracts? And the 3
right,
contracts are long
exactly.
ones?
That makes a difference. And that's just it. Like I once worked in an office where someone that they did like 3 things. They could not multitask, but I could multitask. And I knew I could multitask, but there was no way that other person could multitask, which meant, I mean, I was in control of my workload. I had to demonstrate that, but this is just it. It's discovering what does that person do? And maybe the boss is saying, are giving them more work because before maybe they were working on one thing only, and the boss is saying, no, I want you to pick up more work here because everyone else around you is they're doing 10 times the work that you are doing. So it's a perception. And you're only going to find that out if you ask, okay, what is your job and uh, how many files, for example, or clients do you have? And has there been recent layoffs? And then you can find out, okay, has he really legitimately got a complaint here?
Yeah, because you see that question, the way it's formulated, it says, why is my boss overloading me with work? Is it just you and everybody else or just you? And then, like you said, you've got to start digging. And then is 10 short projects longer than 3 long ones? So you always have to dig into the actual person themselves, I think. It's always worth asking
Right.
the actual person question. Maybe they think they're being picked on. Maybe they're all being picked on.
But it's like, and that's just it. Maybe, and depending on the job, maybe they're being asked to do more because they know more and are capable, where someone else who's more junior than them isn't capable, or maybe the other person is retiring and so they want you to pick up their contracts. Like, like it's an exploratory thing.
Yes, or they are simply training for a higher position. That's why they are getting more work, because they are in training.
Right. They may have to go into their boss and say, like, look, I now have all these contracts and I'm having trouble keeping up because you've given me more work, and hear what the boss has to say. Because the boss may say, well, I'm sorry, but my expectation of you is that you can do this, or I want you to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, we got more job questions here.
I'm serious about this question. I'm going to try and say it with a straight face. You can't see my face because I've got a face for radio and a voice for print.
Okay.
Another question. Why can't I find the right job?
First thing is, what is the right job?
I have to know what I bloody well want, don't I?
Well, and what are you what kind of job are you doing right now that's not right in your eyes?
I'm a dustman.
Are you looking for a job?
Yes.
If you want to find it, you have to start looking. Have you looked for a job recently? That too.
No, not really.
Yeah. And what is the right job?
Yeah, what's your definition of a right job?
Well, the right job, one I'm like, a right job, one I'm happy with.
Right? But are you capable? Let's put it this way. If you have university training, are you trained to be a doctor, a lawyer, or do you just have high school?
No, just high school.
Like what kind? Okay, so that definitely, so what kind of jobs are you applying for? Like what kind of jobs are you applying for if you've got high school? So you know that it limits you.
No, I haven't really applied for any lately, no.
Well, as a dustman, you can think about what's the right job for you.
I don't know, the right job, the right job, you know what I
You
mean by the
mean the
right
right
job.
job when you get paid a lot and you don't do much, right?
Oh, that would be nice, yes.
What jobs have you had in the past?
I was a dustman, I was a barman, I was a laborer, I was a volunteer, and I washed my dad's car and my mom's car a few times.
Okay, so you're like how old here? 20?
51?
Oh. So you don't have any university.
No. But you're a tarot reader, I want the right job.
Well, based on our discovery here, the right job is one that is going to make you happy,
Yes.
but also you have to look at maybe you need, if you want the right job, if you want a job that want more satisfaction and pay, etc., you're going to have to go back to school or look at discovering or go to somewhere to pick up a trade or something that's going to lead to more money.
Ah,
Yes.
And we can do questions around that, saying like, what kind of, what job would you be suited to?
yeah.
Yes, I think that's more question about it.
So by asking that question now, as many questions as Susan's asked me, Susan knows a lot. So Susan already knows that I need to, can I shorten this and be crude because we've got parental guidance, right? I need to get off my ass and do something about this and decide what I want. And Susan had to dig to do that. So Susan can now draw cards and actually cause remedy and say, right, Greg, this is the best course for you. And now Susan actually has to tell me what I want because I don't know what I want. So just by asking these questions, not making assumptions, and Susan grilling me like that, Susan has got a good idea of where to start. And now Susan has to coat this nicely and say, get off your lazy bastard ass and do something.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tarot cards can tell you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're actually helping somebody. But I don't know how to do that nicely.
And I've pulled a card for you. High Priestess, you have to go back to studies.
Okay.
Find out something and study.
Okay. Why does my boss at work hate me so much?
And the question would be, why do you think that way?
Yes.
Because he shouts at me.
I actually had this question from the girl. And obviously, I've asked around the boss, situation around the work, and in the end, my cards were clearly saying he wants her to be in a training, succeed. That's why he coming to her and giving her some task, asking her the question, and she was so annoyed. She said he hates me. He's every day in the morning having coffee with me, then he's checking on me, then he gives me extra task. But my cards were saying, no, he's thinking about you to progress much higher, and he wants you to succeed, right?
Yeah. Good point. Yes. Yes. No, that's true. Because when you see potential in somebody, I've seen this happen. And then you think that the teacher at school's bullying them, but the teacher's not. The teacher actually saw that the person had potential and was lacking confidence. And the teacher's like, you just do it because I'm telling you to do it. On you, shouting at you. And then before you know it, that guy became our rugby captain. And was he being horrible? No, I think the guy, but I didn't know that at the time. I was young. It's when you get older, you realize, that saying you have to be cruel to be kind. And you don't understand that as a child.
Okay, when this person, I would say like, okay, why do you think this boss hates you? Well, if the person says, well, they're always shouting at me, and I'd be saying, okay, are they shouting at you in front of other employees? Because I've had that happen, and that boss was a dictator, and he would do that not just with this person, but any person. So he was not a good boss. So it wasn't a case of the boss hating that person, but that basically the boss was not a good boss.
So then it's not personal, right?
Right,
No.
it's not personal, but then it's a case of, okay, that changes the question. It's how to deal with
A
a
dictator.
boss who's a
Yeah,
dictator
a
like that.
personality. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes. How to deal with difficult people, which changes the whole question.
If I got a card here to answer that, what would you see in this one? I got the judgment. Supposing your boss is not a dictator, okay, but the
Mhm.
boss is, just complains about many things and asks you to do this, that, and the other. I don't know. I think maybe the boss wants you to get out of your box
Mhm.
and be creative and do things in a different way. He thinks you have potential. As someone mentioned here, I mean, they believe you have potential and you're not, showing it. You're not getting out of your comfort
Mhm.
zone and going out there and exploring new things. But I agree with you, Susan, depending on the temperament of the person and how they act with others is very important. That's an excellent point. It's not
Yeah.
only you.
Yeah. Yeah. I would even say when you put the judgment, I think
Mhm.
judgment, the boss is thinking about, taking the person out of the pedestal, like being promoted or move to a different department, doing much better paid job,
Could be.
different position as well.
Yeah. Maybe the person was stagnant. You cannot be more stagnant than in a coffin. So
Yeah, no, exactly.
yes, so there. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and follow us. And feel free to leave a comment.